The Kansas City Chiefs stand at a crossroads, grappling with a precarious situation at the wide receiver position. The reigning Super Bowl champions are now ensnared in a storm of adversity, an alarming convergence of injuries and suspensions that threatens to dramatically reshape their offensive blueprint for the remainder of the season. What was once considered a position of growing promise has suddenly deteriorated into a crisis, compelling general manager Brett Veach to contemplate bold, high-stakes roster maneuvers that could determine the trajectory of the franchise's championship ambitions. It all begins with Rashee Rice, a rising star who flashed immense potential during his rookie campaign and was expected to be a pivotal cog in the Chiefs' passing attack this year. Yet, Rice's suspension has stripped Patrick Mahomes of one of his most reliable emerging weapons, leaving a glaring void in the slot where he had begun to thrive as a trusted target. At a moment when Kansas City desperately requires every ounce of offensive firepower, the absence of Rice is nothing short of devastating. Compounding the dilemma is Jaylen Royals, another receiver poised for meaningful contributions who now finds himself sidelined with knee tendonitis, a nagging ailment particularly destructive for wideouts who rely on razor-sharp cuts and explosive bursts to gain separation. His untimely absence has further constricted Andy Reid's arsenal, burdening the remaining healthy receivers with near impossible expectations. Perhaps the most concerning development of all involves rookie sensation Xavier Worthy, whose arrival was anticipated to inject an electric dynamic into the Chiefs' attack. Worthy's shoulder injury in Week 1 sent shockwaves through both the organization and the fan base. Such injuries can cripple a receiver's ability to secure contested catches, fight through contact, and sustain blocking assignments, areas critical to Kansas City's offensive rhythm. Worse still, the setback struck just as Worthy was beginning to assimilate into Reid's intricate offensive scheme, making the blow all the more damaging. This mounting list of setbacks has created a ripple effect across the entire offensive architecture. A system long predicated on precision passing and multiple receiver sets suddenly finds itself stripped of depth and versatility. The escalating crisis may force Brett Veach's hand, pushing him toward aggressive solutions he might not have otherwise entertained this early in the campaign. Renowned for his strategic ingenuity and willingness to execute unorthodox moves, Veach now confronts one of the sternest tests of his tenure. The championship culture in Kansas City leaves no room for hesitation. Pressure is mounting daily as the team cannot afford to simply await the return of injured players, not when their Super Bowl window remains wide open yet perilously fragile. One solution already being whispered carries a familiar name: Mecole Hardman. The potential reunion with Hardman represents more than just a roster patch. It would be a calculated strike rooted in continuity, chemistry, and proven trust. Hardman knows Reid's system, has rapport with Mahomes, and possesses established ties with the coaching staff, making him a natural candidate to fill the void. Currently relegated to the Green Bay Packers practice squad after a turbulent offseason, Hardman's career arc has taken an unexpected dip. But this downturn also provides Kansas City with a rare opportunity to reacquire a player deeply ingrained in their culture, one capable of reintegrating seamlessly into the fold. Though cut by Green Bay despite his veteran resume and championship pedigree, Hardman accepted a practice squad role to remain in the league. The designation leaves him technically available to be signed elsewhere under league protocols. For Veach, who has built a reputation on unconventional yet pragmatic decisions, this scenario feels like deja vu. Time and again, he has revived former Chiefs who understand the organization's DNA, and this receiver crisis presents the perfect stage to execute that philosophy once more. In Green Bay, Hardman has been squeezed out of a youth-heavy receiving core bolstered by draft capital, leaving him overshadowed but still viable. For the Chiefs, a reunion would not only replenish depth but also restore a trusted weapon into Mahomes' arsenal, potentially transforming what now looks like a looming disaster into yet another example of Kansas City's resilience and resourcefulness.
Despite his notable training camp showcase, Mecole Hardman's established NFL resume ironically worked against him. The organization's unwavering commitment to nurturing their draft investments restricted roster opportunities for seasoned veterans like Hardman, regardless of prior achievements or potential contributions. Throughout camp, Hardman reaffirmed that he still possessed the blazing speed and crisp route-running precision that once made him indispensable in Kansas City. Coaches and teammates praised his professional diligence and relentless work ethic, with flashes that suggested he might carve out a roster spot purely on performance. Yet his error-laden preseason outings ultimately left him marginalized, as Green Bay's coaching staff prioritized consistency and reliability over raw upside. The struggles that sealed his release were especially exasperating, given his proven track record in consequential games. Preseason football rarely mirrors regular season intensity, and countless players who stumble in exhibition contests later thrive under real stakes. For Hardman, however, it became a squandered opportunity to cement his role with a new team, though it may simultaneously open the door to a potential reunion with the Chiefs. General Manager Brett Veach has a reputation for decisive, opportunistic maneuvers at pivotal moments, and insiders suggest he may already be eyeing Hardman's availability. A reunion would not only fortify Kansas City's receiver depth, but also reintroduce a player seamlessly familiar with the system and culture. The Veach-Hardman connection itself carries intrigue. After Hardman departed in 2023 for the Jets, viewed then as a standard business cycle move for a player chasing a larger role, the experiment fizzled. By mid-season, Kansas City reacquired him in a low-risk, high-reward trade that bolstered their eventual championship push. That mid-season return revealed mutual respect, organizational humility, and strategic pragmatism. Rather than part ways, again, Veach extended Hardman on an affordable one-year pact for 2024, underscoring a commitment to continuity while giving Hardman another chance to thrive in a familiar environment. Hardman's journey with the Chiefs dates back to the 2019 NFL Draft when he was selected in the second round. His pick was both a tactical investment in Patrick Mahomes' arsenal and a contingency plan amid Tyreek Hill's legal uncertainty. With Hill's future clouded by allegations later proven unfounded, Kansas City targeted Hardman for his explosive athleticism and parallel skill set. The move showcased the Chiefs' determination to preserve their offensive firepower regardless of external turbulence. Hardman proved presciently valuable, contributing immediately and later, amassing 178 receptions for 2,332 yards across 75 games. While not elite by statistical comparison, these numbers represent dependable output within a loaded receiver core. His 16 receiving touchdowns spotlight his knack for capitalizing in red zone scenarios, while his 3 rushing scores highlight his adaptability and willingness to execute in diverse roles. Equally important, Hardman remains a game-changing asset on special teams. His blistering speed and return acumen make him a natural fit for coordinator Dave Toobe's schemes, an often underappreciated factor in shaping field position and game momentum. In sum, Hardman's career arc embodies both organizational chess moves, and personal resilience. Whether he finds himself back in Kansas City or charting another path, his blend of speed, versatility, and championship pedigree ensures his story in the NFL is far from over. Hardman's elite ball handling and breakaway speed make him a natural fit for both punt and kickoff return duties, offering the Chiefs an explosive weapon capable of flipping field position or delivering game-changing touchdowns on special teams. The familiarity factor cannot be overstated when considering a reunion. Hardman's intimate knowledge of Andy, Reid's playbook, and long-standing rapport with the coaching staff mean his reintegration would be immediate and seamless. Unlike a new signee who would require weeks to absorb terminology, route concepts, and timing intricacies in Reid's notoriously complex system, Hardman could contribute from day one. This extends beyond X's and O's. Hardman also understands the culture, expectations, and championship standard that define Kansas City. He has lived through the grind of a Super Bowl run and knows the intangible elements of accountability, discipline, and resilience that are difficult to replicate. That insight provides him an edge over any outsider still adjusting to the Chiefs' high-pressure, title-or-bust environment. General Manager Brett Veach has already established a precedent of reuniting with former players who embody the system's demands. Kareem Hunt's mid-season return, despite a complicated past, proved invaluable when running back depth evaporated. Similarly, Derek Anadi's re-signing underscored the value of veterans who require minimal coaching, zero acclimation time, and maximum trust. In this light, poaching Hardman from Green Bay's practice squad represents perhaps the most straightforward and pragmatic solution to Kansas City's current wide receiver shortage. The urgency of this move hinges heavily on the severity of rookie Xavier Worthy's shoulder injury. If it's minor, the Chiefs may afford patience. But if Worthy is sidelined for weeks, Veach will need to act decisively to keep Patrick Mahomes armed with enough targets. Shoulder injuries are notoriously troublesome for receivers, impairing everything from catching consistency and blocking leverage to long-term durability. The medical staff's evaluation of Worthy will dictate whether reinforcement is an immediate necessity or a calculated wait. The ripple effects of a depleted receiver corps extend well beyond the injury report. The Chiefs' offensive identity has always thrived on diversity of weapons and unpredictability. Mahomes' ability to spread the ball forces defenses into impossible decisions. Strip away that depth, and defenses can zero in on Kelsey and other primary targets, deploying double teams and exotic schemes designed to suffocate options. This scarcity also threatens to compromise Andy Reid's offensive creativity. His system thrives on versatility and multiplicity, receivers shifting alignments, executing layered route trees, and stretching defenses horizontally and vertically. With fewer bodies, the scheme risks being reduced to a simplified, predictable version of itself, playing directly into the hands of opposing coordinators. The psychological dimension is equally crucial. Veterans like Travis Kelce may feel compelled to shoulder the offensive burden, but that extra pressure can lead to overextension and costly mistakes. Coaches will need to carefully manage these dynamics to prevent urgency from turning into recklessness. From a competitive standpoint, the timing couldn't be worse. The AFC is stacked with rivals who've aggressively armed their offenses. In such an environment, Even a minor deficiency at wide receiver could tip the balance in season-defining matchups. Championship football is won in inches, and roster vulnerabilities at key skill positions can erode those margins to devastating effect. Thank you guys, see you next video.